Welcome back. We're here with Carter, who is the senior account executive for Dingus and Zazzy. Carter, man, it has been a while since we chatted. Thank you for coming on the podcast. I appreciate
Yeah, appreciate you having me on, man. I've been looking forward to this for 6 months.
it.
So, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. Thank you. And I actually normally never ask this question because I think it's a very vague question, but with you guys, it's very specific as we talked about this. What does the name Dingus and Zazzy mean?
You know what? I think the bigger meaning behind it is we have way too much fun with our brand. We're really lucky to
Yes.
be in the creative and marketing world. But the actual story is we did not take this very seriously when this company was first formed 7 years ago, and it's named after my friend and founder's two cats. We didn't have a business name and we didn't want it to be blank, so we put it down, and here we are. So.
Yeah, it's like we talked about on our call. We looked at your website, we looked at your name, and we're like, are these guys joking? Like, are they real? It's a very unique way to go about marketing, go about presenting yourself to the public. And I also saw on your LinkedIn that your CEO, Jonathan, has a very unique taste of making content and marketing the way he does. Why do you guys take such a blunt approach to marketing?
Um, there's definitely a couple answers. Probably the easiest one is it's interesting to us. That's what keeps us engaged. We've always thought that if it makes us laugh, then there has to be at least 1,000 people out there who would, be customers of ours who also laugh at those things. But, probably the most important thing is it actually separates who would be a really good fit for us from not. And everybody we work with, we literally talk to every day. We're a part of their team, and so it's really beneficial for us if we work with people that we get along with. And it starts with our content and our personality. And yeah, I guess that's the long way of saying it makes us laugh, and we figure there's got to be enough people out there who find it funny. So.
So you guys use your content in your top of funnel to really filter who you're working with.
That's kind of the idea behind the brand, and maybe how polarizing we can be is that we just we find it's easier, right? It's easier to work with people or potentially work with people
Yeah.
who are already maybe on the same wavelength or like the messed up stuff that we do. So.
And is this something that you guys started with, or did you guys kind of toss out a video one day and said, "Hey,
No.
this stuck," or how'd that kind of form?
I do think a lot of it comes from John and his personality. He just if he's not interested or engaged or doesn't enjoy it, he won't do it. But I also think it was kind of a one-two punch, right? Our name, who we are, it allowed us to have a lot of fun, and we've really leaned into it. We just saw it work really, really well early on. We were like, okay, let's lean into it. We have an awesome content guy, Joey, who's our producer and
Yeah,
leads all the content, and he's the perfect guy to make that kind of stuff. So yeah, we're leaning into it.
I love the unique, and you guys just really dive into what it means to be authentic, and like, hey, this is who we are. It's either you're gonna like it or you're not, but hey, at least you know we are presenting exactly who we are. Like there's no bullshit, there's no anything behind the scenes. You're gonna get
No,
us.
no. If anything, it's pulled me into more of a fun direction. I think it's who I am, and I feel like if I'm not having fun with people when I'm talking to them or sending emails to them or going through the sales process, it's like I'm doing them a disservice when they get to our team and they meet us and they're like, "Oh my God, these guys are nuts." So yeah,
Yeah,
we got to try and do our best up front.
I love it. And so how does Dingus and Zazzy make sure they are over delivering for their clients?
Mhm. Yeah, that's a great question. I think our whole business model was to get away from the overpromise, underdeliver style and take a lot of risk on ourselves. The traditional agency model that I've seen or I've hired in the past is usually a here's a promise of a result and here's more contract based or here's like itemized invoicing. And the biggest risk that we take being month to month and not capping the amount of work we do or limiting what we do is that if we're not over delivering, people fire us. And we're not really interested in working with people for a month. And don't get me wrong, like I am interested in doing short-term projects if that's what people need. We're a month-to-month service, work with us for a month, that's fine. But our goal is to build long-term relationships and put our head on the block every month. If we're not doing the job the right way, then people aren't stuck in a contract with us for 12 months. So
Yeah, and I think it's fascinating that you guys take this approach of like we not only want to do our job correctly, which that's lacking in general is just doing your job correctly, but you guys say, hey, let's take it one step further. I want to over deliver. And as you probably know in the social media realm, there's a lot of companies that say, I'm going to grow your social media. You look at their social media, they have like 10 followers, but they claim that they're going to help your business. How do you guys kind of differ from those companies?
that's a it's an interesting point because for a very long time we didn't take our social media very seriously. Like you see the fun content now, but forever it was like inside jokes to us because we didn't market the same way. We're very maybe aggressive on the outbound. We pick up the phone, we try and get in front of people, but I do think there is something to be said that you want to see them being able to do it for themselves if they're going to be able to do it for you. And I empathize with a lot of people who are very good at social media but don't have the time to do it for themselves or their agency. Um, because that's something that we all are victim to, I think, working in the marketing space in the agency world is we can be great at doing it for our clients. We often don't have enough time or bandwidth to do it for ourselves. So it's my honest response to that is I don't necessarily think an agency's social media presence is respective to how well they are at doing that for their clients. But you need to have good case studies, you need to have good references, you need to have the right things to be able to showcase value instead of just taking people's word for it. So.
Yeah, I. Why do you think, besides obviously the time factor, that you don't think it like really matters? Like like, what's your opinion on that?
It's not that I don't think it matters. I do, and I'm starting to see that value a lot more now. But I just look at, our pathway to where we've gotten to now and building what we think is a fun social media presence. Again, very polarizing and chaotic, and so are we. But um, it was one of those things that, for me, as somebody who has to show value in the service that we provide, um, I didn't want it to be a vanity metric. I never want it to be something like look at how we did well for ourselves when I could be very self-serving for our business. I could put way more energy into my business's marketing than maybe I would for a client. So I would rather focus on the things that I think are actually valuable. Which is a big reason why we're not the type of people to get into a relationship where we're like, hey, we're going to promise you X amount of leads and sales, because you have to test, you have to actually execute and see if it works. And I'd rather still kind of going back to like the month to month style.
Yeah,
I'd rather my head's on the block. If we're not providing value, you can cut us off at any time instead of starting a relationship with something that maybe isn't true. And not again to not to say that everybody who does that way is not being true to their services. I try to get away from anything that's a vanity metric as much as
yeah,
possible if I'm showing value.
yeah. And why is being that business that can help other businesses with all their creative needs a focus for you guys?
I think, I can speak to the rest of the team. I can only really speak for myself. I think for me, it's just I've worked with so many people and I've seen what a challenge it is to be able to build the right team or even just hire the right project-based help. And a lot of money gets burned in trying to scale those things. So for me, I think I've felt the pain points myself. I've been on both sides of the fence, and also I've just worked with so many people that I've seen struggle with it. And I think it's something that anybody in business at some point runs into, whether it's sales or marketing. There's so many different things that go through that. And I believe in the structure and the reason why we do this so heavily that it's so much fun solving those kind of problems every day.
Yeah, and you obviously love what you do. You love the team that you're with. You love the clients that you work for. How does Dingus and Zazzy make you feel appreciated as an employee?
That's a good question because I work on a very different side of the team. I get to work with like all the cool people. I get to see the cool things that happen, but I do spend a lot of my time talking about it. So I've been really fortunate to be in our main office here with some of our kind of core and leadership team, and um, you know, I don't know how to quantify it or say like what it is that makes you feel appreciative, but I think it's just surrounding all of us with good people. We have such a specific hiring process when it comes to a salesperson, to a creative, to a project manager. Um, we want to make sure that it's polarizing just as much as our sales and content is, so we find the right people that we enjoy working with, and all of those people appreciate. Um, what we do on the front end to be able to bring clients in, and man do I appreciate the work that they do to make sure that what I'm saying is
Yeah.
true to the word. So
I have two more questions for you, Carter.
yeah.
How do you make sure life stays fun for you?
Oh my God. There's probably too many answers and we don't have enough time, but for me, in the context of being here 8 to 10 hours a day,
Just in general,
yeah.
just like your life in general.
You know what? A lot of it comes from this, actually. I got to be honest with you. I came from, I don't want to say more rigid because we have an awesome structure and everything here, but it brought a lot of fun into my life that I'm able to take out of it. And I've always been that kind of person. I'm, for lack of a better term, and feel free to bleep, but bit of a shit disturber. I like to have a lot of fun, and I've always really tried to surround myself with those kind of people. And um, I don't know. My life is chaos. I think this was the perfect place for me to have it, and it comes home with me. Normally, it's don't take your work home, but I love being able to do that because here we don't hold anything back. We have as much fun as we want, and sometimes in chaotic ways. But yeah, I don't like to do anything that I'm not at least finding funny, and it annoys the hell out of my fiance a lot. Um, but that being said, I don't know how to quantify it. Um, I don't like being bored, and so it's one of those things I can't sit still. So
Yeah, and you mentioned your fiance and you're getting married this year, which is very exciting.
yeah.
What are some things that you are nervous about going from having a fiance to being married?
Wow, yeah, hard hitting. I think I think it's just going through that uh, transition in life. It's you kind of go from your mom, your dad, if you have siblings. I don't. They're your emergency contact. They are your immediate family. And once we kind of walk through that day, and I'm sure it'll be a blast, but from there, she becomes my immediate family, and everything for the rest of my life is that. So it's not so much anything that I struggle with, but it's things that I'm excited for. It's when you look back on childhood into adulthood, and then you kind of look at these points, inflection points. I feel like this is probably the first time I can look ahead and be like, that's when it's going to happen, and I know things are going to change, and we're excited. So
I love it, man. I have one more question for you.
yeah.
If you could have dinner with two people,
Hmm.
one person from the past and one person from the present,
Hmm.
who would it be and why?
Who that is a great question. From the past, oh God, there's so many good answers for me because I'm just a sponge for useless information. It would probably be from the past. It'd probably be Carl Sagan. Um, I'm a huge fan. I'm a nerd for physics and astronomy. That's what I thought I was going to pursue until I realized academia doesn't pay. And so that would just be really interesting to me. And there's probably 10 people off of that that I could think of. Um, present day. Present day is an interesting one. And I'm a very indecisive person, so I'm going to try and think of this quickly.
You can take your time. I've had guests spend 3 minutes trying to think of someone.
Hmm. Oh man. Maybe I should just stay in that same vein. No, it's got to be something to do with sports. Oh God, that is a tough one. That is a oh God, I don't know. You know what? I'm just gonna throw out Tiger Woods.
Okay.
I don't know why I was such a fan as a kid. I think that's what got me into sports and everything I did. I followed him forever, and so did my dad. Probably a controversial character now through everything he's
Yeah.
been through, but I think if I just had to pick something that came to my mind, because I would sit here for the next 5 to 10 minutes and not come up with one. There's
Yeah.
probably 10 names that came to mind, but I just figured I'd blurt one out. So yeah, let's go with that.
we're we're gonna get off the podcast and be like, oh my gosh, I should have picked this guy.
Oh my God, I forgot about Obama. No,
Yeah. Um, that's awesome. But man, that's all the questions I have for you. How can people find you guys? And what is one thing you want to leave people with?
oh, that's interesting. Well, first, people can find us, our company, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. We're Dingus and Zazzy, not Dingus and Jazzy or Zingus and Zazzy, which I get every day. And they can find me on LinkedIn, Carter Davey. The thing I would leave people with, oh my God. Um, don't be bored. Don't settle for being bored. I think it's something that we all do. We love comfort. Sometimes just being in it is comfort. Not to knock anybody that loves boring things. I love boring things. I'm the oldest 20-something-year-old you'll ever meet. Um, but I don't know. If you're bored, find a way out of it. There's always stuff to do. So,
I love it. Well, Carter, stay on here after we end it, but thank you for coming back
of
in,
course.
man. I
Of course.
appreciate it.
Sorry, I'm getting attacked by Nerf bullets. Ah, ah, Jesus. Ah. Okay, okay. All right. All right.
Thanks for coming on, Carter.
Thanks for having me.